Welcome back to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two friends recap and review their way through romance novels, while occasionally going on tangents, giggling a ton, and perhaps snorting. This week we have part 1 of The Unleashing by Shelly Laurenston. It's a paranormal romance that's all about the Viking gods and their representation via humanity on Earth. Hi, Erin.
Hello, Melody.
How are you?
Good. We are again joined in the studio by Rooster and Goat.
Ooh.
Because they won't stop barking no matter where in the house I put them. Because they're not in the same room with me.
I don't blame them. I would want to be in the same room with you always. So
if you guys hear any strange mouth sounds that sound like a dog just like licking itself,
it's still Erin.
It's probably me just like just nomming on like a mango.
Yeah. So you know that I like babies more than I like toddlers, right?
No, but I mean that makes sense to me.
Yeah, so I mean, don't get me wrong. Toddlers are fine too. It's just like if you were to say, would you like to spend a day with a 9-month-old or a 2-year-old, I would choose the 9-month-old every single time, without a doubt. Whether or not I'm breastfeeding, doesn't matter. That's what I would do.
The older, the better, I think.
Yeah, you think that, but older in this case means that they just like talk back and have opinions, but also, but don't have enough of their frontal lobe developed to be at all reasonable. So like, they're just like mini tyrants. But I will say, so that is the prologue to my actual point, which is the best thing about toddlers is just that they don't have the experience or like the societal shame to not just be deeply weird whenever they want.
That sounds just like you. That sounds like that you would have so much in common with them.
Well, right. So I like hanging out with Ember a lot, mostly because he's my spawn, but also, you know, he's fun and stuff. But the kid is just fucking weird. And one of the things he's been doing lately is what he calls a dudesa party.
Dudesa?
Dudesa. So in Chinese, you say dudesa for stomach or tummy. And Ember lately has decided that the best thing in the entire world is to make me lay down on the ground. He pulls my shirt up a little bit to about my rib cage. He'll bare his stomach in any way he possibly can. And then he puts his dudesa on my dudesa and wiggles around while I sing, "Dude's a party, dude's a party."
This isn't him being weird. This is you being weird. Like,
no,
he didn't just have this idea. Like, okay, maybe he had this idea. Let's put our tummies together. Yeah. But the reason he keeps coming back for more is definitely your deep weirdness of making it into a thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because he tried a couple of times with Michael, and Michael was like, "Get the fuck out of here."
No. Yeah. That's how I would have felt.
No, but you know what? The favorite part of my day also lately is Dude's a Party.
Fair. I mean, that's fine, but don't blame it on Ember.
No. Yeah, I should say it was more of a collaborative effort, but it was his dream child. It was his baby from the beginning.
Fair.
Mm-hmm. It just turned into a collaboration.
With a baby the other night.
Oh, yeah?
It was a double date. It was a couple that is friends with mine, and then me and their baby. It was a double date. I was on the date with the baby. And I guess that this particular baby has a big old baby stomach. Well, I don't guess. Yeah. It's a truth. A big old baby stomach. And whoever watches her during the day calls it her bacon and says, "Let me see your bacon." And she pulls up her stomach or her shirt and like moves around her tummy.
So cute.
And does a little tummy dance. And so now she wants to see everybody else's bacon. And so she says, "Bacon, bacon," and then tries to get your shirt up, which for an adult woman that's a horror story. That's your worst nightmare is a baby recognizing that you have a big old gut and being like, bacon, bacon, and like showing it to the restaurant.
Man, kids are the best. Yeah.
They're fine. I think in ascending order is how much I like kids. Like all the way back to baby. Like if I had the choice, I would hang out with an adult child.
An adult child? So me?
Yeah, like you, but like just any adult is what I like adults better. Like sometimes I think that I want to like have a kid, but those times are not like when I don't see a baby and think, oh, it would be nice to like, I've only ever held one baby in my life, and that's because its mom just like handed it to me without asking.
Right, didn't give you a choice.
Yeah. I never see like a baby or a toddler or like a small child and think, oh, I really like want that. But sometimes I see like somebody shopping for like a prom dress or like checking out colleges or something like that. And I think, oh, that would be nice to like pick out a prom dress with a kid.
Yeah.
Like I could do that, or like go look at colleges and be like, is Georgetown right for you? Like I think I would like that.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
just like really anything younger than like 12.
Sure.
It doesn't make me think like, ooh, I want one. That's rough because that's like 12 years in.
That's a long time. Yeah, that's a good 2/3 of the obligatory period.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is going to be a bit of a harsh segue, but did your pagan heart sing during this book? How are you feeling? How are you feeling about this?
I don't know. Listen. You know how we were going to record?
Wait. Can I just tell you when I was reading this book, what I thought, just to see if I'm like totally off base or not?
Uh-oh.
For you, I was like, man, this is really cool because Aaron's going to love this because there's paganness all over the place. There's metric fuck tons of action all over the place.
Yeah.
There's very direct romance. It just seems like it could be your bag.
I guess like careful what you wish for. I don't know. Here are the things. I have a few disclaimers.
Sure.
Disclaimer 1 is
you were reading this during a migraine.
I had a migraine.
Yeah.
For 3 straight days. Like it would not let up, and it was an ocular migraine, so it's like it was hard to read. Thankfully it was over a weekend for the most part. So it was making me upset, this book, because I was trying to listen to it instead of read it. And
that would be tough with this one.
This is the most complicated book that's ever been written.
Okay.
I would say there's like,
I think maybe Tolstoy has you on that one.
There's like, no, there's the chapter of the Bible with all the names. We've discussed it before.
We don't know which one it is still.
Nope.
But
I think it's called The Duke and I. Which one was the one that had all the names that we were just like, fuck this?
Yeah.
There's that Bible book, and that's the second most complicated book. And then this one is number 1.
I didn't feel that way at all. I mean, it did. I will say this. The only thing that I found really annoying as far as like reading the first book was concerned is that this author doesn't just choose a first name or a last name. The very first time she says a character's name, she'll say the whole name. But then randomly, like sometimes in the same paragraph or on the same page, she'll call the character Kira and then she'll call her Watson. And I'm like, are these 2 different people? I honestly am not sure. And so I don't know how you could handle it while only listening to it. That would be because I just flipped back and found it.
Roughly 2,000 characters.
Billion. Yeah.
So I got online last night. So we were going to record Friday. And I said, you know what? It's a good thing that we can't because you were sick. Because I need a couple of days to like detox from this book and see if I maybe will like it more. Yeah. If I get a couple days away from it. I went on Goodreads or whatever. I think Goodreads. One of these and looked at reviews, and I am not the only one. A lot of people were like, this book is the hardest book in the history of time to understand. So it's not just me. It's also other dummies out there in the world that couldn't keep it straight. So that's thing number one was migraine. The second thing is that I really thought it was going to be a bad boy werewolf book, and it wasn't. Because it has leash in the title. So I just...
Erin, that's a bit on the nose, leash, don't you think?
And the cover was... Oh, like, romance titles are not on the nose? Like...
Yeah, all right.
And the cover has, like, a guy in a sweatshirt. So I was like, oh, he's a bad boy werewolf. And then I opened it up and I was like, Viking gods. So I think... that could have had something to do with it.
Can I just say, we should say this out loud. I don't know if we have been for a while, but this is the first book in the Call of the Crows series, which is a 3-part series, and it's called The Unleashing by Shelly Laurenston.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? I loved it. I've already read the other two because we had time.
Well, The Undoing was the one that was actually recommended to us. Is that one much better?
It's really good. And it's a lot easier because it's all the same characters.
You already know all the stuff. Yes. Yeah.
So it's just like you only have to learn like a handful more characters, and it's much easier because of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I have a hard time with the favorites game.
Sure.
I will say that I find the heroine a lot more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
But the third book is also really fucking good. And don't worry, I'll tell you all about it in our next Patreon bonus episode.
You guys, the Patreon bonus episodes so far, it'll change, I'm sure, have just been Melody reading the rest of the series and then telling me about it. I mean, we do other stuff too, but like a good chunk is just Melody being like, have you read the rest of the whatevers? And I'm like, no. And she's like, let me tell you the whole plot.
Don't worry. I'll tell you. I usually just tell you the setup and like the cool things about it.
But the setup takes like half an hour.
Okay, that's not true.
And the things that are cool about it are everything.
I can only be me, Erin. I can only be me. Okay, so should we dive in?
I guess. Okay. So we've got Kira Watson.
Yeah.
Ex-Marine. And you know, because she...
Former Marine.
God. Oh, fuck it all. Maybe this is why I can't with this woman.
That's a big thing. Is that you are never an ex-Marine. You're a former Marine.
Fucking whatever. So at least this author knows that Marines call themselves Marines. Hashtag by Felina.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yep.
So she's a Marine, has always been one, will be a Marine.
That's right.
Who is dead.
Wait.
She died.
Well, yeah, sort of. She doesn't know this yet, though, right?
Sure.
Like, she wakes up, she's naked. There are intruders
we are not
going to
be able to tell this story in the order that it is told by Shelly Laurenston.
It's really good, though. It's really good. Okay, wait. So she wakes up and there's people in a strange house. And she then remembers that she died and decided to come back as a warrior for a goddess. The goddess's name is Skuld. Don't worry, everyone. I'm so into it.
Okay.
So she's naked. Fully ass crack of dawn naked.
There is so much tits out fighting in this book.
I love it so hard. That's one of the reasons I love this book so much. So much tits out fighting. Okay. So she and her dog, she barely recognizes her dog because what used to be this broken down 50-pound, half a muzzle, no teeth pit bull has now become this gorgeous 100-pound, huge, just like restored dog. But she knows it's Brody still. And Erin is looking adoringly down at her pooches. Yes, Erin.
Because Rooster doesn't have any teeth either. And maybe if I get killed in an alleyway and saved by a Viking god, maybe then a rooster could become beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So there's a bunch of people in her house. She has no idea what's going on. It's not even her house. She doesn't even know what house she's in. And she and her newly revitalized dog kick the shit out of these people with their own metal hammers. And it's like a great fight scene.
First. Like, it's not like she's just... But she's like... She wakes up and she's like all muscly and strong. It's like when Spider-Man wakes up the day after the spider bite, and he's like, what's going on?
And he's like
it's
accidentally
kind of
jumping through the ceiling. That's what's happening.
And she's also like enraged. She has so much rage going on, and she doesn't know why. She murderlates these people, and she's real naked the whole time.
Yeah, and there's like this going over the banister sequence. Like, it is a good fight. And then a bunch of bitches show up outside the house as she's just about to like murderlate someone. Like, she's about to use 2 hammers to bring them both down and crush a person's skull in between them. And then she stops herself being like, who the fuck am I right now? So the head bitch, who just arrived, kicks these people out. And she's like, get out of here, giant killers. Also,
who are they? Why does it matter? It doesn't. It's never going to matter again. Those were the giant killers. You wasted your first chapter on them. They're never coming back. Their leader is named Frida. We have a whole chapter with her that doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. We learned some of their names. Erin cataloging filing them away in her filing cabinet. Here are characters in the book. There's only probably going to be 10 because it's a romance novel. That's fucking false. There are at least 200 characters in this book. All right. So those were the giant killers. I will say that
they become they become sort of important in books 2 and 3. So, file them away, bitches.
Great.
Okay. So they are, just FYI, they're Thor's clan, if you wanted to know.
That's why they've got hammers.
That's right. And the head lady, Chloe, she's this little Asian woman who's always angry, basically, and also writes romance novels.
The head lady of the thing that Kira is now.
Yeah, so she is
Kira
a crow
is now a crow.
Yeah. Scold's crows. I don't know how to say her name.
So there's a bunch of clans.
There is an
giant killers are one of them. Well,
there's
I don't know.
Umlaut over the U. I don't know.
Sure.
Skuld.
I don't know. Whatever. So there's a bunch of different clans. Each of the clans is for one of the gods. So those were Thor's people. They're the giant killers. These guys are Skull's people, and they are the crows. They're all kind of ladies from all over the place that have been resurrected. They're very racially diverse and very like people diverse too. Like, they're from all walks of life. They're kind of scrappy, and their function is to murder people for Skuld.
Yes. Yeah. If you've crossed a line, they will come in and they will clear a room via murderlation.
Yeah, but mostly it seems like they're getting her stuff back for her. I thought it was going to be like people were stepping out on Skuld and they needed to be schooled.
Oh boy. How long did you have that one filed away?
like the fraction of a second before I said it. So like, people were like behaving badly, but mostly it's like, somebody stole my necklace, somebody stole my bracelet, somebody stole my brooch.
No, it's usually that they stole it and they're using it to do something awful.
Sure, it just seemed like a lot of jewelry. I just feel like Skuld needs to get a lock on her jewelry cabinet.
Yeah, she needs
and then we wouldn't need to murder so many people all the time.
Yeah, that comes up in the other books too. Okay,
your jewelry cabinet lock?
No, that everybody's like, why can't they just keep a hold of their shit?
Oh, yeah.
So Chloe looks at Kira and she's like, your dog can't stay. Our insurance won't cover that. And Kira's like, I don't care. Brody goes where I go. So
Skuld said she could come.
Yeah.
So when she was in the afterlife with Skuld, and she was like, Skuld was like, hey, do you want to come be a crow? And Kira was like, only if my dog can come. And the god was like, fine. And let her dog come. So it's like, who is Chloe to be like, get out of here, dog?
Yeah, totally.
Skuld said.
So hilariously, she's like, all right, I'm going to go to bed now. And she passes out on the steps on the way up, which I find to be hilarious.
Yes.
And then a couple of key people who then become her strike team pick her up and go put her in bed. And it's like, it means a lot because they've like taken responsibility for her. So then she's having a dream about how she died. Here's what happened. Real quick rundown. She was in the alley throwing away coffee shop garbage, and she ran into this guy.
She's a barista.
Ran into this guy who was beaten on like a 16-year-old girl. And she was like, hey, maybe don't do that. And he didn't like even pause. He just turned around and put a knife straight through her heart.
Yep. I imagine that has some kind of significance in a future book, right? I would assume.
No.
What?
No.
This is just a thing that happened? Just a random act of violence?
Yeah.
I kind of like it better now.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I assumed that this had some sort of significance that the author just never told us. And I was just like, tell us in the book that is the person that it's about. But
no. It doesn't come up.
I kind of like it better now that it's random. Okay, cool.
So she wakes up and everybody's screaming.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
He stabs her in the heart. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, 4 bear claws. The pastry.
And a black coffee.
And a black coffee, which is the name she has given to this raggedy...
Oh, does she remember that now? I thought it was later, but that's fine.
Oh, well, I don't know when she remembers it, but this had done what happened. So then so this is a guy that comes in every day and orders 4 bear claws and a coffee, and he's got, like, long hair and a long beard, and he's, like, real big and muscly and real tattoos and real handsomes. She thinks he's a homeless vet, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because do you know how much 4 bear claws and a coffee costs?
Right? That's what I thought too.
$20 at least? More than that. Like $30. 4 bear claws and a coffee. I don't know. I live in Alaska, so everything's more expensive. But definitely like at least $15 to $20.
Yeah, and he's been coming in daily for 18 months. Daily. For 18 months.
Do you have $20 a day to spend on bear claws and coffee?
No, I definitely don't. Not
no,
even close.
Me neither. Anyway, she thinks he's homeless because she's a dummy. And then he cradles her. And he's like, schooled, help me, save her.
Yeah, schooled, I call upon you.
I call you schooled.
Ah! And then she makes the deal and it all happens. But we don't know that yet. So
sorry.
It's all right. I don't mind. So everyone explains to her exactly what happened as far as like, this is a lots of exposition chapter explaining what the clans and the crows and all the things. One thing that is of note is that the leader is yelling at her ex-husband because he's relaying the message that everybody thinks that the crows are stealing their shit. So like last night, nobody was in the house because the giant killers made a diversion and were going to go try to get back whatever they thought the crows stole. Crows have not been stealing anything, though. So, did you not know this happened?
You're literally telling me news. This is going to happen throughout the book.
Oh, boy, Erin. All right. So, now we do a lot of meeting of team members that are interesting but don't actually matter.
Lot. There's Annalise. There's Tessa. There's Alessandra.
Yeah.
There's Aaron. There's
Aaron matters. Jace matters.
There's Jace.
Yeah. And like actually there's a moment in the book where I'm not sure the author actually kept the characters straight because in chapter 13, Lee is like the chapter opens with Lee going, and that's how I died. And then in chapter like 22 or something like that, Vig tells her about a bank robber that died in a shootout. And she's like, Lee. What? Who is that? And he's like, she's Lee. She's on your team. Hasn't she told you that yet? And she's like, no. And I'm like, yes, she fucking did. Anyway. But Annalise is really cool because she's a sociopath. She was a sociopath in her first life, and then she got feelings in her second life. So now she's a forensic psychologist. It is so cool.
I think it wasn't impressive to me because I know so many forensic psychologists that I'm just like, your shit isn't great.
That's what I wanted to do with my life. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, you make a lot of money, but it's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah, I really wanted to do that. And I wanted to be an FBI profiler, Erin.
Yeah, I mean, they're cool.
Yeah. So I started majoring in criminology.
It just doesn't have like, it's not like a sexy job because I know too many of them. I'm not saying it's not a cool job, but you know, like if you work at a fire station, you're not going to be impressed by a firefighter. I was just like, whatever. Well, that's the thing,
right? You're like, all jobs are cool until they're a job. And you're like,
right.
Oh.
And
well,
this
now
book
it's my
acted
job.
like she was like this, like a super,
like
I
Criminal
don't know how
Minds.
to say it. Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that show, as we found out on the last bonus episode. But like, she just can walk around and know that your father left you, or your mother is blah blah blah, or your whatever, and that's just like not how it actually is. And it
totally
kind of was.
Oh yeah. P.S. We just dropped a little info. There is an excellent story on one of our bonus episodes for the Patreon where Erin talks about when she hit Mandy Patinkin with her car.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. We're not going to go into any more because it's a Patreon thing. So that's all you get.
I maybe
allegedly
hit him with my car.
Maybe, not for sure.
We know that he reacted.
He walked away.
We don't know that he was hit. That's
yes,
all I have to say about that.
All right. So Everyone loves Brody. Nobody loves Kira. Because Kira's honestly kind of insufferable to everyone except Vig.
Awful. May I read a passage?
Yes, please.
They call her New Girl, and she keeps being like, I have a name. Fine. Aaron stopped and faced Kira. Problem, New Girl? Only with the fact that you won't use my name. In the Crows, you have to earn that respect. Quote, I already earned that respect with 2 tours in Afghanistan as a United States Marine. What about you? And I'm like, what? Ugh. Like, it made me sick to my stomach. It's like, I'm a hero. Have you not noticed that I served in the military? Like, anyone can serve in the military.
I completely hear you.
I was just like, I did not like Kira in these first few chapters.
No, I don't blame you. And they don't either. And I don't blame them because she immediately comes in. She hasn't spent more than like 18 hours in their presence. And a lot of that was sleeping. And she's like, hey, guys, I think you're doing everything wrong. And I think that I should reorganize everything.
She wants to create like a training schedule. And it's like, you don't even know the names of all the clans. You haven't even seen them fight. You don't even know what their fighting thing is. How would you know how to train these people when you don't even know what their powers are and stuff? Right.
Or like what they're fighting, or you haven't watched them fight. You don't know what, like, you don't know if they're in teams. You don't know if they do this every night. You don't know if it's like once a year. Like, you know nothing. She's literally know
walking
nothing.
around the house with a clipboard being like, here's our new schedule. And everybody's just like, shut up. You're the worst. Like, where did she even, why, anyway.
Well, and it's her way of like dealing with her anxiety about something that's very, very new to her, and I totally get that. But
sure, I would have
hated her too.
Okay, so then they take her to get weapons. Is that what happens next?
Yeah, and this is where we meet Ludwig Runstum.
Sure.
So good.
So they're like prepping her to meet him, and they're like, he's real mean and big and scary, and like, don't make any sudden movements and blah, blah, blah. And she walks in, and it's homeless veteran, 4 bear claws, 1 black coffee, mega rich coffee guy from the coffee shop. And she's just like, you saved my life. Hug, hug, hug.
And she literally, like, she does the Bachelor thing where they jump into their arms and wrap their legs around their waist. Yes, something I have literally never done to another human.
No, I can't. Yeah. My thighs would, like, just slam into the person and knock them flat. Like, I've got big old thighs. Like, that can't.
Same.
They're
the fashion
meaty.
Industry and I disagree on the appropriate girth for a woman's thighs.
I can find clothes for my thighs. It's just the whole fashion industry is like, you should be taller than
right.
If you have these thighs, you need a few more inches on you to be a person, basically.
Yeah. All right. So. Oh, also, everyone hates Aaron, which is a thing that happens because it's Aaron's book is book 3. And one
Aaron
of my favorite...
is Kira's assigned mentors.
Yes.
Aaron is the assigned mentor. Yeah.
Right. But one of my favorite descriptions that Aaron says is everybody's like, Kira's like, so everybody hates you, huh? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a whirling dervish of good cheer and affection, which I find to be really good.
I really liked while she was in doing the weapons thing, she was like out with some ravens, we haven't even talked about what ravens are, and she's like kicking one in the face over and over and over again. And he's like, stop it. And she's like, make me. Oh, I'm sure they fall in love, right?
Yeah, that's them. That's their book 3.
That's book 3?
Ooh,
yeah.
So good.
I was certain of it. As soon as she started kicking him in the head, I was like, oh, they love each other.
Yeah, they do enemies to lovers. It's good shit.
So, Big is a raven. All these other guys are ravens, where she goes and gets the weapons. They're all very muscly, very handsome people. The ravens are a clan that go to
Odin's
a god
clan.
That is Odin. They do stuff for Odin. I don't remember what their role is.
They do a lot of well, a lot of it is going to get Odin's shit. But a lot of it is like stopping a sacrifice, saving the people who are being sacrificed, that kind of thing. They're very much like the sort of rescue clan as far as I was concerned, but they will eviscerate everyone in their path if they need to.
Yeah.
They also don't have their own weapons because they're trained to make anything around them and their opponents their weapons. So good. Mm-hmm. So they talk inside, and she's like, I don't know what's going on with me. I just want to murder that redhead who is Aaron. And he's like, you just gotta ease into your new role. Being a crow is hard at first. You're cool. This is where he learns that she thought he had a brain injury. Like, she thought he got IED'd. And he's, like, mortified.
Uh-huh. Because I think he thought that there was a little, like, love match brewing while he was getting all the 4 bear claws at the coffee shop. And really, she was just like, oh, honey.
Yeah, a little bit. But remember, he went in there for 18 months and never worked up the courage to ask her out. Because he says later on that he knew for some reason she would probably say no. He just could not figure out why.
It's so sad.
So he gives her some daggers that he made specifically for her, and she learns that none of the clans use guns because all of the gods want them to use like metal or edged weapons, which is fine. Right. And she finds out that she's basically a contract killer for a god and promptly runs outside to vomit, which is a character trait. Kira always vomits when she's nervous or panicked or whatever.
Loves vomiting.
Yeah, it continues to be hilarious, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the vomiting thing.
Yeah. And then she decides that until her wings come out, because she's not going to join any fights until then, until her wings come out, she is going to organize the crows Marine style. And everyone hates her. So then we learn all about the house. They live in a farce drug rehab. And that's fine. That's also how they have actual rehabs which fund their lifestyle, but doesn't matter. So then
rehabs to the stars.
Oh yeah. Rehabs to the super, super rich.
Yeah.
And then there's a super cute scene with Kat, who's Vig's sister, because Vig, everybody knows now that she thought he had his brain scrambled. And so they think it's hilarious. He's down on his stomach on the bed with a pillow over his head, just like sulking. And it's the most adorable thing because Kat walks in and just literally sits on his back because apparently she's a Valkyrie and apparently she's so small that she can just sit on his back because he's so big. And Kat has a good idea. She's like, it's going to be really hard for her to transition. So you should be there to help her out. And then you can do some wheedling like into her life. And he's like, shouldn't that make me feel a little bit ashamed? And she goes, there's no shame in the wheedle. And he's like, I feel like there should be.
This was a cute scene. Cute. I really liked this little scene between him and Kat.
All right. So then she finds out that like they're going to, like the crows, the organization, are going to set her up so that she can do whatever she's passionate about in her second life. And Kira gets office supplies and this is where she starts interrogating everybody about the training schedule. And then the crows are like, she needs her wings because otherwise we're going to kill her. Like if she doesn't start going and fighting with us, we're going to murder her. And then
we
Vig
just
shows
don't
up.
like her so much. Yeah.
No, I don't blame them. And Vig shows up and Aaron wants Kira to leave. So she's like, Vig, you get out of here. And he's like, this is odd. Like, you never treat me like this normally. And Kira's like, you know what? Fuck you, Kira. Fuck you, Aaron. I'm going too. And so then they go to lunch. There's a bunch of side plot that happens with the neighbor next door who's apparently like being a bother and doing a lawsuit. That's only slightly important at the very end, so we'll skip over it and explain it later.
Yeah.
So they go to lunch and it is so cute.
See, maybe I just didn't connect with these guys because like they had lunch and like it was fine, and then at the end he asks if he can date her. But, like, I just didn't see where the chemistry was, I guess.
Oh, I did.
You did?
Yeah, I felt the chemistry. I definitely
felt the chemistry. Maybe I was
mostly
feeling the migraine. Because I was just,
I think you were.
Feel like they were, like, clicking.
So, hold on. I actually have something to read from this scene. So, first of all, she's like, so how does this work? And he's like, nothing too hard. I was thinking of going out for dinner if that works. And then we take it from there. And she's like, I meant the clans and stuff.
Yeah.
So then they do a lot of explaining about the clans. But then, so he's like, you know, ravens and crows are close because not every crow is a raven, but not every crow is a raven. Did I say that right? Doesn't matter.
Sure.
Basically, she's like, he says something cool. And she's like, I like that. And he goes, I like you, he suddenly said, gazing at her with those penetrating dark eyes. I like you a lot. And I want to date you, at least to start. And then I'd like to have sex with you. But I want... Nice, Sarah. We both had the same exact passage highlighted. Okay. Then I'd like to have sex with you, but I want to start with dating when you have time. I know you're just starting out in this life, and I don't want to overwhelm you. And he's like, I made you uncomfortable. And she's like, actually, no.
Yeah.
This is really great. And it's, you know what I liked most about this book, Erin? I loved that all of the drama was external because I was never annoyed with these two. Never.
That is something, like, I think it is like a careful what you wish for, because on paper, this is my perfect book. Stuff is happening. It's not
all
like...
all the time.
Yeah, and I think maybe that too much stuff was happening. It was like, more is not my motto. Like, more was too much in this case. But, like, that aspect of it is something I really like. The conflict was external, not internal. They liked each other from the start, the end.
Yeah,
I never felt like either of them was silly.
Yeah, I was never like, get the fuck over yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes I was, but it had nothing to do with Vig.
Yes. Okay, so then they go back to the birdhouse, and Vig's like, I really want you to give this a chance. There are other crow houses that you can go to, but I would be really upset if you like went to Nevada or somewhere stupid. And she's like, all right, for you, I'll give it a chance. And then earlier, a couple of crows had taken Brody out running, and they opened the door, and Brody is wearing a pink Swarovski crystal-covered collar, and she has a pit bull. They have a retractable leash for this 100-pound pit bull. Mm-hmm. The dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then they also have her in a crystalled tutu, and Kira, like, just flips. She nearly lights them on fire. It's so good. And Vig's like, you promised to give it a shot. And she's like, you're so devious, and shuts the door.
Because I don't know if you've said that a lot of these Los Angeles crows are like actresses and models and stuff, because when you get your second life, you're like super hot and you have all the money you want, and you got your days free because you only do your murdering at night. So there's a lot of like super famous actresses and, you know, that kind of thing. So they're into dressing up dogs.
Right.
And that's part of the conflict here, is that Kira's trying to decide what she's going to do with her second life. And she's just kind of like, maybe I'll just go back to the coffee shop. And everyone's like, fuck you. Like, you can do anything. And she's like, meh, like, all I've ever wanted to do is Marine and like coffee shop. I don't know. So,
yeah. So,
what's next?
There's a whole chapter with another clan. It doesn't super matter. All we need to know is that human sacrifices are up. And it's a problem because it seems like they're trying to raise something specific. So,
do you hear that, listener? There's a whole chapter that takes place in another clan. And the only thing we need to know...
Yes, which is important for book 2 and 3. It's a lot. This is a lot of world building, Erin.
Okay, but if you read this book...
all I have to say to you.
You have to commit to book 2 and 3. Like, you can't just read this book, because this book leaves you very unsatisfied. Is that not the case? There's no ending. It just ends. Like, it ends on a cliffhanger.
No, the romance is very satisfying.
Sure,
like,
fine.
The romance has a good ending. I'm just saying,
this is not a standalone book. Like, you cannot read this as a standalone in the series. You've got to read the whole shebang.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. I mean, I would recommend it. Yes.
Yes.
So now, Erin sets a trap to get Kira's wings out because she's like, I can't handle this bitch anymore. So it's so good. She makes a call. And then she goes into Kira's room and she's like, hey, so have your wings come out yet? And Kira's like, no. She's like, oh, okay. No, nothing to worry about. It's fine. It's fine. And Kira's like, what? What? Are you sure there's nothing to worry about? And she's like, well, it might get a little infected and like there might be pus and sores and grossness. And then she leaves. So Vig all of a sudden shows up because that is who the call was made to. He's like, where is she? And Erin's like, I think she's having a panic attack or something. She's up in her room. You better go. So Vig barges into Kira's room. Kira has her top totally off because she's looking at her back in the mirror trying to see if her wings are infected. she gets startled. And so her wings come out and she doesn't know how to use them. So they pull her out of a closed window. Vig then runs after her, run, and catches her midair and then twists him so that he's the one who falls on the ground. It's like from 3 Stories, by the way. Mm-hmm. All the crows downstairs are like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And they go out and Kira's like, I don't know what just happened. And Vig's like, I do, and looks straight at Aaron.
We were set up.
Yeah.
Can I just say, like, not until like 3/4 through this book did I understand the wing thing. Like, I get that they had to get wings to fight, and they all have wings. But a lot of these guys are like famous actresses and stuff. So I'm just like, where do they go? Do they literally retract into the body? Like,
yeah.
Well, yeah, but she doesn't explicitly say that until like 3/4 into the book.
Except for all the times that they say her wings retracted back into her body.
They don't say back into your body. They just say retracted. So I just think they're folded up. And then I'm like,
how are they going to live their normal lives as lawyers?
That's how I felt. I'm like, what did they just seal right up in there? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yes, that's what happens.
Suck in, and then the skin just closes over them, like mythically. Is that what's going on?
Yes, that's why it hurts for the first like 4 days.
So it's like Wolverine thingies.
Yes.
See,
Except wings.
I needed Shelly to like explicitly be like, and then the wings went back into her skin, and then her skin went like, that's what I needed. But she just kept using the word retracted, and I'm like, what does it mean? Do they have holes there? Like, what's the deal?
But Aaron, you saw all the time. You saw all of the times when they just looked like normal ladies in bikinis.
I know.
What was confusing about that?
I have no less than like 10 notes that say, how are they being just normal ladies in bikinis? They have fucking wings. Because to me, retracted is just folded up, and extended is extended all the way, like flying extended, you know?
Oh, I
like
did not
birds
have that
when
problem.
they're just chilling out, birding around, hopping, they have retracted wings in my thought. You know, like I was just like, what? How are they just bikiniing? And I thought maybe like normal people just like couldn't see them, you know, like they're invisible. I'm a dummy. I'm an idiot, guys. That's the problem.
Sure. So here's what happened. Then Kira freaks out and she's like, Aaron, you're the worst. And she lets her rage take over and they fight like crazy. She grabs a chair. I mean, cunts are kicked. Meanwhile,
she kicks
Kira
her so hard in the vagina. No, she punches her. She punches her.
No,
because I remember. Really?
Yeah, it was a kick. She kicks her right in the vag. And yeah, because I had a note that said knuckles up cunt punch because that's a joke with one of my friends.
I was just about to say that's a joke with one of my friends.
Knuckles up.
So my friend in high school used to go around punching people in the vagina and then yelling duff. Is that a thing anywhere else? Duffs?
No.
In my high school, that was duffing somebody is punching them in the vagine.
No.
And it was awful. You were never safe in my group of friends. They were just always punching each other in the vagina, and it was terrible.
Can I just say that they would not be my friends? I would be over it real quick.
It was hard to be. And it's Liz. We're going to have to give her a mythical shout out anytime now. So if you can think of a cunt punchy way to,
I will.
to shout her out.
I will. All right. So, So Kira P.S. she's topless because she took her top off to look at her back.
So much tits out fighting.
So many tits out fighting. It's so good. So then Erin gets super angry and unleashes her special schooled talent because a lot of them get like special things. And Erin's is that she has a fire whip that comes out of her person, like out of her hand bone. A fire whip comes out. Vig grabs Kira and like shields her with his body. And then Chloe comes out and she's like, what the actual fuck? Crows do not fight crows like this. Like, you figure your lives out. So they go to get patched up. And then that's when Erin tells Kira that she killed her dog.
Because by asking school to take the dog, she effectively made school to kill the dog. I don't get why Kira's so upset by this. I felt like, get over yourself, whatever. The dog clearly doesn't give a shit. Kira didn't even remember dying for a very long time. The dog does not give a shit. All the dog knows is it's got its teeth back, it's bigger, it's prettier, it's happier.
Yeah, right?
But she makes a whole chapter of sobbing over this, and it's irrational, and it made me hate this woman. The end.
Well, and also, like, this is how school brings people back. They have to die.
Yeah.
How did you think it happened? I don't know. I just assumed that's what happened.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Kira recovers on Vig's couch. She meets his sister and his friends because he goes out shopping for food to cook for her, and he takes like way too long because he's overthinking everything because he wants to impress her. It's so cute. And then they have this big dinner. He doesn't want everybody there, but his sister's like, listen, you'll be less intense. You'll be the cool guy if you let everybody stay. So just shut up. And then after dinner, he gives her a book of like Norse mythology so that she can study up. And then she's about to head into bed because he's like, you take my bed, I'll take the couch. And she just leans over and plants a smooch right on him. And it's one of those like quasi Spider-Man kisses where he's looking back and she's like over his shoulder, and it's real nice. So, all right. So then they introduce Betty. Betty is an old mentor and a retired crow. She's an agent for Hollywood. She's the plan seer, which means that she can show people things that they need to see. And Aaron's like, Betty was Aaron's mentor. And she's like, what do I do? And Betty's like, fucking apologize. That's what you do. Like, just humble yourself and apologize. Oh, have I told you? Ember absolutely refuses to say I'm sorry. He would rather, I'll be like, you did something bad. You got to get a timeout. And so he'll sit in the timeout. And he's really good in timeout. And then I'll be like, all right, are you ready to get down? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, what did you do in timeout? And so he'll tell me. Or like, what did you do to get in timeout? And he'll tell me. And then I'll be like, all right, can you say you're sorry for whatever you did? That kid would rather put himself back in timeout for like 40 minutes.
Maybe he's not sorry.
Instead of saying I'm sorry.
I would be like,
he'll parrot
yay.
Everything else.
The kid's going to sit in timeout for another 40 minutes. I can go live my life for another 40 minutes. That's like the best problem to have.
Yeah. Like, and he's so good. He just like sits there. It's like he's meditating or something. I don't know. It gets me a lot of quiet time these days, so I'm not mad about it.
Yeah.
But it's the weird thing for me is that it's almost like he knows it's like a humbling experience, and my proud, stubborn boy just will not do it. All right. So back at the house, there's this PI in a tree. The crows, the actual bird crows that hang out around the house, attack
like
him.
Literal
he falls
crows.
Out. He ends up in the hospital.
They peck him to death, not death.
No, they peck him and he falls out of the tree.
They peck him to wounded.
They peck him to comatose.
Sure.
And Chloe's having trouble sleeping because of these crazy nightmares. It's a thing. Just know it's a thing. All right. So Kira wakes up and she is totally healed. She's magically schooled healed.
She's got the wings. She's ready to go. Here's where I have a note, and it says, very confused about wings. How do they hide the wings?
Oh my God. All right. I find it so cute because Brody, her dog, is cuddling with Vig on the couch, and I loved it.
She's like, get down, and Brody won't get down. She's like, wah.
Yeah. And then it's just another adorable goodbye for them. He's like, will I see you later? And she's like, if you want. And he's like, I want. And it's so good.
Also, Kat makes a comment here about how, like, it's not good for crows and ravens to be in sex relationships because, like, it sets off the whatever. But, like, Chloe was married to a raven. I don't understand that whole thing. Aren't all of these ladies going to marry ravens? Isn't that the whole thing of the book series?
Kind of. So here's the thing. Odin and the rest of the gods only choose a Viking descended people. And apparently this means like 100% Viking descended. I don't know how they don't have like 3-eyed hemophiliac Vikings at this point because there aren't very many of them. But
crows don't have to be.
No, so crows are the only clan that get chosen from anybody because they're descended from, well, they're actually not. They're descended from the first slaves that school chose and blah, blah, blah. So I guess the thing is that if they have kids, those kids cannot be ravens or Valkyries.
Okay, that's why she said it. Okay, makes sense. Moving on.
Because they won't be 100% Viking. They will be partially Viking, so I don't really know what the fuck the problem is, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So she runs into Aaron on her walk home. Aaron's like, I'm sorry. And she's like, cool. And it's great. So then they decide they're going to go move her out of her house. And a couple of ladies run along. This is Annalisa and Lee and Jace. Jace has been hiding. So they're about to get into an SUV. Jace has been sitting in the SUV by herself reading. And they're like, and Kira's like, are we not going to address this weird thing that's happening? And they're like, no. You'll find her in closets. You'll find her in cupboards. You'll find her in attic spaces.
That makes sense. I used to do that when I was little. I was an only child, and yet I would still read in the bathtub for no reason. Or like in the car or in the camper. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. She just goes off to be by herself. And it's really adorable. So they get to the apartment, and she talks about how shitty the neighborhood was, including but not limited to the dog fighting ring that's in the neighborhood and had Brody. That's where she rescued Brody. Because she was tied up and almost dead. And Kira grabbed her and they became BFFs and they take care of each other forever. And she tells Vig that she's going to her apartment. And then they start packing up. And then a bunch of people attack them. The silent attack. Well, first,
Kira sees a guy in a closet and he's like, shush. And she's like, I'm not going to shush. I'm going to scream.
Yeah.
And then they get attacked by him and like some other lady. And they're part of, guess what, guys? Another clan that we've got to fucking learn about. They're called the Silent, which is why he was like, shush, I guess.
Yeah, well, so yeah, they just don't really talk to anybody else. And they're kind of dicks. So
but there was a whole other chapter where like Vig and his friend went to like see the Protector clan. That was a different one.
Yeah.
Vig and Stieg or whatever. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, was that the chapter that you skipped? Anyway.
Yeah, it was just like this. Right. Okay, so the silent attack. And the seer is like, who are you and what do you know, basically? And she's like, I am nobody and I don't know what you're talking about. And then we find out Jace's special talent, which is the berserker mode.
Raging out.
She gets crazy. She like attacks and once she locks onto a victim, she will not let them go until they are eviscerated and done. But a couple of the guys grab her off of somebody and then Vig shows up with the boys and they almost kill the silent guys. They're like ready to basically curb stomp them to death. And Kira's like, no, don't kill them.
Don't kill them.
And afterwards, he like reaches out to her a little bit and she pulls away. And he's very concernicus. So
yeah, because I mean, that's what they do. They murderate people. And she has a point that they're never going to know who sent the guy if they murder him. That's not the reason. That's kind of like her armchair quarterbacking why she did it. She just didn't want Vig to kill the guy.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But like, you can't have it both ways. You can't have her be, I earned my respect with 2 tours in Afghanistan and I'm a Marine and I follow orders and Marine. And then be like, we can't kill anybody. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and my other thing was, one of the things I didn't really understand about Kira's overall psyche is just that in the Marines, you do what you're ordered to do.
Oh,
right?
I know, right?
And so it seems like this would be the perfect setup for her.
Right.
It's not just like a general. It's a fucking god being like, you go here, you kill, you get this back, bye.
Okay, there's so many things. Like, the one thing is, she goes, during this fight where Vig has got the guy, or maybe the guy's got Vig at this point, she goes under her pillow, grabs a gun that's under her pillow from when she lived in that apartment, which, bing boom bong, gun safety with Aaron.
Right.
Don't.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe definitely don't.
Put a gun under your fucking pillow, quote unquote Marine who knows about guns. All right. Then even though she's been told the gods disallow this kind of thing, points the gun at the guy and almost shoots him. So it's like, Kira, you were about to kill this guy too, just with a gun. Is that better? Like, or
right.
I don't get it. And then she gets pissed that he's going to kill this guy. You're talking about following orders. Like, she was cool to follow orders in the Marines. It even has a thing where she's like, in Afghanistan, I knew why we were there, and I knew what we were doing, and I knew why I was following orders. Here I don't. And I'm like, this is very uncomplicated. These guys were attacking you. You're attacking them back. That's very simple. Right. If I were to sit here and try to explain Afghanistan and why she was there and what she was doing, it would take a really long... That's not very simple. Like, I don't know. She's cool to, like, follow orders from some staff sergeant or whatever in the Marines who's just Joe off the street, but she's not cool to follow orders from a literal god. Like... This is a god that says, do this thing. And she's like, but I don't know why.
Right.
I just can't.
I don't think that we're going to get there this episode, but I will say that as soon as she gets all the info, she is in, she is signed on, she is done, and she commits. Oh, yeah.
She's ready to go.
I sort of understand because they're kind of keeping her... They're keeping information from her in a lot of ways because that's what you normally do with a crow who's just woken up off the street. Like, if it were a regular barista or whatever, you, like, ease them in. This bitch can't ease her in. And they're trying to do that with her. So she's, like, she's wishy-washy because they're wishy-washy, too. And they never sit her down and formally explain all the things. And then as soon as they do, she is there. But, it is, there's a lot of in-the-moment hypocrisy. Yeah. But whatever.
Because I would understand a barista off the street having this attitude a lot more than I would understand her having this attitude. Because there's a lot of, like, there are fights to come where she's like, I can't kill them, though. And it's like, what? This is like a demon with some snarl teeth. Kill him.
I mean, the first one I understood. But we won't get there either this episode, so we'll talk about it next time.
Okay.
All right. So... they're still moving her out.
Also during this thing, one of them slashes somebody with talons, and I was like, they have talons now? When did they get talons? When did talons happen? Like, not only do we have wings we have to hide, but also talons. I was so in the weeds. I was so lost.
The talons also come out and retract, and they have regular lady hands. I don't know why this is so difficult. I did not have this problem at all.
I figured it out eventually.
One of them even says, I don't want to pull out my talons because I don't want to ruin my manicure.
Yeah, I think that's when I put this.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway.
All right. So, they're still moving her out. The ladies are worried that she doesn't have a killer instinct. And Vig is super worried because she recoiled from him a bit. Guess what, guys? It's totally fine. He's like, do you hate me now? And she's like, no, not at all. I just, I was having a moment and it's fine. And then she kisses him goodbye. And Stig is so funny because when Vig walks, like, sort of saunters back to the truck all proud of himself, Stig goes, do you need another minute to blush coquettishly and dream about your perfect white wedding? And as Vig walked around the front of his vehicle, he grabbed Stig by the hair and slammed him face first into the hood. And, like, that's one of the things I loved about this whole series is that it was so, like, quick and funny and just, like, the camaraderie was really apparent. It was really good in that respect. Okay, so now that we've got 2 kisses and a heap of unbridled potential, I think we should stop for this week, and then we're going to find out everything that happens, including, but not limited to, a motherfucking trip to Valhalla, everyone. Actual Valhalla. I was so excited.
Are you wondering if we get to meet more unnecessary clans? The answer is yes. Are you wondering if we get to meet about 150 more characters? The answer is yes.
Are you wondering if there's going to be the richest tapestry of flavors and world building in this book, in the rest of this book? The answer is yes.
Do we get to have sex with talons and wings? Also, yes.
Yeah, we do. Do we get to have a little deal between the two of them where they're like, all right, so we eat and then we fuck again?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Next week's going to be off the chain, you guys. All right. So, Erin, do you have a lady love this week?
Kind of. I feel like I've never been like, yes. I've always been like, sort of. Does this count? But yeah. So David's out of town and there's all of these things. I think this is universal because this has always been my life, but maybe it's not and it's just me. That I just deal with things in my house being broken or like inconvenient, and I just like my life's inconvenient and I never get the thing to fix the thing. Does that make sense?
Me too.
Yeah.
Michael is the opposite to me, and it drives him insane.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like I need to go get a tube of toothpaste, but until then, I'll just like use the little toothpaste that I have from like travel or like just dumb stuff. There were many things that we needed, like a thing to put pot lids in so that every time I cook, I'm not just like, crash, 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 crash. Where's the right lid for the pot? And it's like, because it's all like just in this bucket. You know, it's like things like that.
Yeah.
And so I just went to Bed Bath & Beyond and I was just like Lil Wayne and I was just like making it rain in there. And I'm like, I'm gonna buy everything that needs to be replaced in our house. And if I drop $700 here, that is what has to happen. And I understand that my privilege is showing. Like, that's not something everybody can do. But if you can do that, if you can go to Bed Bath & Beyond and just get all the over-door organizers you need, and all the, like, I needed a new tea kettle, I needed a thing to organize the pot lids, I needed chip clips. We've been using binder clips to clip our coffee. Like, just dumb stuff.
Oh, yeah,
that I'm like,
I use
we're
binder
adults.
clips. In fact, I find that they're usually tighter.
Sure, fine, but like,
yeah.
I also need the binder clips. So it's a constant war between the office and the kitchen of like, and we also sous vide a lot of things and you got to use the clips for that. Anyway, the point is I dropped $1 million at Bed Bath & Beyond and I've never been happier in my life. It was so perfect. It was great. Now everything works in my house. Just do it. Just suck it up and just go. Just buy the thing that you need to buy. That's my lady love.
Wonderful. Okay. I have 2 lady loves.
2?
Yeah. One of them is I just rediscovered, and it was a really important part of my week this week. I rediscovered workout videos on YouTube.
So did Tanya.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she had this whole post of like, I just realized in the year of our Lord 2018 that workout videos exist on YouTube. You don't have to go to the gym and sweat in front of other people.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, yeah, I rediscovered workout videos and I am so completely into it. It was really nice because I could just like, I didn't want to go all the way to my yoga class and I wanted a different kind of yoga experience than the one that was going to be offered to me at this particular class. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was really nice. So I just pulled up some shit and did the damn thing and it was fucking awesome.
Oh my God. Can you not did the damn thing? I can't with that right now. I cannot with her.
Oh, you're so right. Yeah. Like, my apologies.
No other bachelorette has had a catchphrase. Don't do this to us. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, completely.
Stop it right now. Anyway.
Completely. Sorry about that. Okay, so my other lady love is kind of the opposite to your lady love. And that is a little thing called Wikibuy. It's a plugin, an add-on that you can add to your internet browser so that when you're on, I think mostly Amazon, it'll be like, if you don't need 2-day shipping, then you can get this thing for $15 cheaper on eBay or like a bunch of different sites. So it will scour the internet for you to be like, if you want this thing, you can get it for cheaper in this place. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Wikibuy. It's a plugin.
That's nice.
For your internet browsers, and it is good shit. So check it out. And there's a bunch of other ones. There's like, I think it's like called Honeybee or something like that. Mm-hmm. But Wikibuy is my favorite because it does the most amount of sites that I've seen so far. Mm-hmm. It's good stuff. So those are my two.
Real
Workout
world
videos
advice
on YouTube and plugins that'll save you monies.
Yes. Okay. We should mention the Patreon.
Yes.
We've got a lot of subscribers to the Patreon. It's the best. Now we can pay for the books that we have to buy every week. It's been launched for now 2 or 3 weeks if you're listening to this. And we've got a bunch of subscribers, so now we can pay for the books that we've been buying and the equipment and the bandwidth. So thank you so much. And we've been recording special bonus episodes. We've recorded 2 so far. The first one, Melody geeks out about the Brothers Sinister series. The second one, Melody geeks out about the, seasonal bride series. I don't know. And Gracie.
There's a bunch of shit. I mean, because in the first one, we talk about the royal wedding, too. And
yeah, we briefly talk about the royal wedding. We talk about how my parents broke my window. We talk about Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah. But yeah, I talk about the rest of the Brothers Sinister because I read all of them. And then I also talk about
some very personal things.
I do talk about some very personal things because I am as usual, I'm just my oversharing self. And then in the next one, I talked about book 2 of the Chance Sisters because I got to read The Winter
Chance
Bride,
Sisters.
which is all about Damaris. So good. Damaris and Freddie. Yeah. So if you are interested, it's really helpful to us. It will help us bring you more content. It helps make it so that, this isn't the most expensive hobby in the whole wide world. And hopefully if it keeps up, we'll be able to do a lot more advertising and grow the podcast more. We have high hopes of going to conferences at some point.
Oh my God, that would be so cool.
It would be so cool.
I could see you again. I haven't seen you in 6 years or something crazy like that.
So
except
long.
for those 10 minutes last year where we happened to be in the same city at the same time and we were like, hi, bye.
Yeah. Yeah, we snuck some time between a funeral and a wedding.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for your contribution. It's really awesome. And we are going to get you the bonus content that makes you feel great about that. And there's also some cool, one time per year rewards, like novels from us or, gift baskets, things like that. So check it out.
Oh, and if you've contributed at a rate where you do get a novel or a card or a gift basket, we need your address.
Yes,
so send that to us in some way, email, direct message,
DM us.
However it is you link with us on social media, send it to us so that we can send those things out to you.
Yeah. Other than that, so let's talk about social media as a cool segue.
Yes. Okay.
Instagram is at Heaving Bosoms. Twitter is at Heaving_Bosoms. Facebook is at Heaving Bosoms Podcast. Then we have a Facebook group, which is super, super fun. Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. And you can always email us at heavingbosomespodcast@gmail.com. And
the website is heavingbosomspodcast.com. You can listen to the episodes directly on the website. You can also get to the Patreon from the website if you click on bonus content in the drop-down menu. But if you want to go to the Patreon directly, it's patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. So thank you so much, you guys. We love you very, very much.
So keep being a badass.
And love yourself as much as you love a knuckles-up cunt punch.
All right.
All right. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, you. Yes, listener, you. Are you loving the show? If so, please leave a rating and review in your podcast app. The 90 seconds you take to say something nice not only helps new people find the show, but it makes me super smile over at HBHQ. Also, I've had a few people ask, and the answer is yes. We are still doing the 5-star bribe. If you leave us a review with 5 stars, then we'll do whatever book you want. We're real deep into the list, though, so it might be a while. Lilas! Okay, back to the show.